surprises in here. I worked with this, and we sent people over to talk to FBI agents. My daughter, I was never present when these interviews took place, and we recorded them, recordings, and there's so many different surprises that's going to come up in this tape. I think you're going to love it. There's no question in my mind. If you really love it, share it with somebody that you love. They're going to love it. And they're going to thank you for it. I mean, I'm lost for words for the time and the effort that I put into this. This is all the marbles to me. I put my heart and soul in this. And I think you'll hear it. You'll know it. And if you like it and love it, we're going to be working on the other 9 episodes for season 1 and then season 2. And it'll come out until we're done with the entire story of my life, from soup to nuts. Enjoy it.
December 11th, 1990.
While I'm on the land, Louis Cicenti, my bodyguard driver, comes to me and says, John wants me to come in. He wants me to come in and meet him at the club in Little Italy. There was always FBI or news trucks or media. Didn't make sense that I was going to go there. But the boss is the boss. I went home that night, came in, me and my wife hugged. I had a full beard, took a shower, shaved, and the next day I got up, got dressed, and got ready to go down to Mulberry Street that afternoon. We pulled up, we got out of the car, we walked to the club, opened the door, and walked in. And all the people in the club were made guys and associates. They all knew who I was. Hey, Sammy, how you doing? How's things? You look great, this and that, all that bullshit. I walked to the back of the club. I shook John's hand and Frankie's hand. I sat down. A couple of minutes passed. The door opened up and agents came in.
For many years, we have tolerated in America a syndicate of organized criminals whose power is now reaching unparalleled heights.
Tonight, the mafia, not a movie, the real thing.
The personal suffering they cause to our society in human and fiscal terms, climate of lawlessness that its very existence fosters, has made this network of professional criminals a costly and tragic part of our history.
Here in New York, it was said you could hardly do business, transport anything, build a building, without the mob somehow taking a piece of the action.
Today, the power of organized crime reaches into every segment of our society.
Salvatore Gravano, Sammy the Bull, the underboss, the second in command of the most powerful mob family in America.
The reasons for the mob's success are clear. Organization and discipline, vows of secrecy and loyalty, insulation of its leaders from direct criminal involvement, bribery and corruption of law enforcement and public officials, violence and threats against those who would testify or resist this criminal conspiracy, all have contributed to the protective curtain of silence that surrounds its activities.
For years, the FBI has been watching and listening to the mob street corner meeting.
The time has come to cripple the power of the mob in America.
For the first time ever, Sammy the Bull Gravano tells his story. This is our thing. Vincent the Chin Gigante.
Chin Gigante is extremely dangerous. He ran the Genovese family with an iron hand. No games with him. He was so dangerous that he didn't allow people to say his name. They called him Chin because if you referred to him, you would touch your chin, so the other person knew who you were talking about. You didn't want to get caught on tape saying his name. He was extremely powerful. Frankie DeChico is a friend of mine. He's a captain in the Gambino family. Very, very powerful captain. His father was a made guy. He was in the same crew I was in. His uncle was a captain. He was well respected and feared. He was respected because he was always for the underdog. And I grew up with him, so we were extremely close. On April 13th, 1986, we went to a club on 86th Street. Me and Frankie went there. A made guy in the Lucchese family, a guy named Frankie Hartz, came in. He asked Frankie for a lawyer's card. So Frankie went immediately into his wallet to give it to him. And he said, "I don't have it. It must be in the car." I said, "Frankie, you want me to go get it?" He said, "No, I'll get it." And he walked across the street with Frankie Hartz. He opened the door of his car and he sat into the car, the passenger side, sideways, and opened the glove compartment while he was talking to Frankie Hartz, who was standing right next to the car. The next thing, there was this huge explosion that rocked the whole neighborhood. Windows broke. I never even heard an explosion like that. I came out of the club, so did at least 20, 30 guys. I went to grab him to pull him away from the car. As I pulled him a little bit, one of his legs seemed to be detached. Same thing with one of his arms. When I went under him, there was no part of his body left. My hand went right through, almost to the outside part of his stomach. So my hand was actually in his body. And that started us thinking about, where could this have come from? Picking him up, a lifelong friend of mine, was sickening how I saw him dead. It's not like he was shot. It's not like things that we were used to. He was completely blown away. After months of thinking about this and investigating it, most of us came to the conclusion the only one who had the connections, the balls to do this would be Vincent the Chin Gigante. John Gotti called me to a private meeting, just me and him. And he said, "I think you're right, Sammy. I believe it's Chin Gigante." I said, "You want me to kill the boss of the Genovese family now?" "Yes, take him out." Actually, it was music to my ears. And I'll give you a reason why. When I knelt at Frankie's funeral, I knelt at his coffin, and I whispered to him, "Frankie, I'll never let this go. I will kill who did this. I will kill everyone who was involved. I will kill everybody who knew about it in advance." I was going to now live up to my oath to him. This was extremely important to me. I left the meeting, and they started to assemble people that I would use. I kept this very low key, but I designed who would stay on one corner with a gun, who would drive a crash car, who would drive a backup car. And a van would come, pull up to his club, the door would open, and someone would come out and kill Chin and whoever the fuck he was with that Uzi machine gun. One of my guys said, "Sammy, who'll be the shooter?" I said, "Me, this time. Me.